Jane McCall and the Twilight Stacks. Chapter 21. The Courtyard. The same rush of cool wind that had greeted Jane in the stacks and cave entryways washed over her. She took a deep breath and smelled fresh air scented with flowers. A breeze cut too warm sunlight to the perfect temperature. Even without any of that, she would have been comfortable. If the stacks had been safe and the cave had been predatory, the courtyard was friendly. "Nice, isn't it?" Luke said from behind her. She jumped a bit, having forgotten the twins were with her. He grinned. "Kale did the same thing her first time." "Slander!" Kale called. She'd already walked in deeply enough to stand under the tree. She waved her arm to indicate the whole courtyard. "Here we are. I don't know what you're looking for, but feel free to poke around, I guess." How gracious. Jane turned on her heel, taking everything in. She wondered if the courtyard could even communicate. Maybe the stacks was an outlier. She really hoped she was wrong. Luke had gone to sit on the bench. He crossed his ankles, leaned back, and said, "This place is pretty, don't get me wrong, but it's not exactly the most informative. How do you think you'll find information to help your stacks?" Jane shrugged. "Ask, I guess. That's how I got the stacks to provide books." Kale huffed. "Don't know if you've noticed, but there aren't exactly any convenient signs around." "It can't hurt," Luke countered. "That's 2 votes. What's there to lose, anyway?" Jane cleared her throat. "Hello, it's nice to be here. My name's Jane. I had a few questions if you're willing to answer." Nothing happened for a second. Then the chalk drawings on the walkway warped and vanished. White text appeared at Jane's feet.
Hi. It's so nice to meet you. I haven't seen a witch in forever. The madhouse never lends its out so we can talk.
Was the reality warping pocket dimension using emoticons and pouting? What sort of way was this? The twins had run over to read the message as soon as they'd gotten over their surprise. Kale was more concerned with the fact that the writing existed at all than its contents. "Could you talk this whole time?" she demanded.
Nope, not till your new friend came in. That's how the magic works.
"That makes no sense," Kale protested. Her hands flitted in front of her chest, and she shifted her weight as though fighting the urge to pace. "What's the difference between us and Jane? You called her a witch. What does that mean? Can Luke and I become witches?" She rounded on Jane, a manic light in her eyes. "Why didn't you say anything about this?" Jane took a step back. Kale's current mania scared her. She rattled off, "I think it's hereditary. I learned about it 3 days ago, and I can barely make anything happen for longer than a minute. I'm pretty sure a witch, an adult one, hurt the stacks." Luke frowned, radiating disappointment. That made Jane feel worse than Kale's anger. He said, "That doesn't explain why you didn't tell us." Jane really didn't want to tell them the full truth. She settled on saying, "The witch who hurt the stacks was seriously powerful. Orders of magnitude above me powerful. You two are mostly normal. I didn't want to get you involved with that kind of danger." "We're already involved," Luke said, not unkindly. He stepped closer and laid a hand on Jane's shoulder. Behind him, Kale scuffed her toe on the concrete and puffed her cheeks out. At least she seemed to be calming down, and Luke's hand on Jane's shoulder was surprisingly grounding. "I get that this is all scary," he said, "but isn't it better to work through problems with other people? Even if we can't do everything you can, we can still think of things you might overlook." He had a point. Jane's head sagged. She didn't want to fight. "I'm so lost," she admitted. "Me too. Let's be lost with company," Luke said. He squeezed her shoulder and stepped back. Jane looked over to Kale. The other girl crossed her arms. "You didn't answer all of my questions. What makes you different from Luke and me?" "I don't actually know. Like I said, I only learned about my personal magic 3 days ago." She looked at her feet. "I don't suppose you could tell us." The text changed as though the old had been rubbed off with a wet washcloth and the new was being written in real time by an invisible hand.
Ooh, I know. Witches have magic cores. Most people don't. A core makes a witch. It gives them their witch marks and lets them connect to other living things. Very special.
Jane had a bad feeling. Her hand came up to cover her stomach. "Out of curiosity, where would a witch's core happen to be?"
Can't you feel it when you cast?
Crap. The twins weren't stupid. They could connect the dots. She had to hurry the conversation along. "I need confirmation. Please tell me." "Jane, not now."
Your center of balance when standing straight up is the center of magic. Your core's there. Why do you want to know?
If someone were to extract a witch's core, would they make a cut here? She lifted her shirt just enough to expose her scar. Everything went still. The chatter of insects and birds cut off like someone had pressed pause, and the wind died all at once. Storm clouds materialized overhead, and the temperature dropped from pleasant to chilly in a matter of seconds. A pressure bore down on the trio. "What did you do?" Cale accused, as though Jane could have predicted the courtyard's fury. She grabbed Luke's arm. "Leave her, Luke. We have to get out of here." Luke's eyes were locked on the pavement. "It's not mad at us." "Excuse me?" "Look." He pointed at the chalk drawing, which had wiped itself clean and was writing a new message in furious red chalk. "Who did this?" The words appeared letter by letter, as though the courtyard was trying to restrain itself. It wasn't doing a great job, if the horror movie atmosphere was any indication. Cale had started to shiver, and Jane found herself struggling to open her mouth. She forced out, "Relative. Failed. Been arrested." The pressure cut off as quickly as it had descended. Jane gasped for breath. Luke staggered, and Cale coughed as the change in air pressure irritated her throat.
Sorry. Little witch, what happened? That's terrible.
"I know. I'm okay, though. My magic's intact. That's not why I asked about core removal.
Then why?
Someone like you has lost its core. I want your help to find it."
I'm sorry for your loss, but I can't change anything outside of myself. That's what witches are for. My friends would be more useful than me. They've got opposable thumbs. Besides, ways can't survive without their cores for longer than a couple of seconds.
Out of the corner of her eye, Jane saw Luke perk up. Cale grabbed him and hissed in his ear, "You're not helping the crazy magic girl hunt down a thief who is presumably crazier and more magical than she is." Ouch. But fair. It's still alive. The witch who stole it cast a spell because she was angry at it. The stacks got lucky with the side effect. It's dying slowly, but it's not dead yet.
Oh, really? Show me.
How do I do that?
Touch your mark to my tree. I can do the rest.
Queries, kudos, or concerns? Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.